from the 2024 election. Of course, we are your home for everything election-wise. America decides 2024, whether it be the national stuff, the local stuff, we have got you covered here on News Talk STL all the way through. And yeah, we're there. We're in like the home stretch. October surprise, where are you? Like, is there one coming? Is just the regular news these days October surprises? Because we were talking, I can't remember who we were talking to last week about this, Emily, but maybe it was Susie Moore, maybe it was Virginia Cruda, who's going to be with us in a few minutes. Like, the regular news cycle of today would have been like the bomb October surprise in elections past.
Yeah.
Like, that's how sensational just regular headlines.
And if everything is, then nothing is.
Yes, just regular. The regular news, regular headlines have become so just sensational. We've become so used to it that it doesn't have any impact. Whereas it used to be like, like the funding thing that's going on about the hurricane funding and FEMA, and we have money for illegal immigrants, but we don't necessarily have money for the Americans that were impacted by hurricanes. And what's been the back and forth between DHS and what we're hearing from the White House. That could have probably been an October surprise a few years ago. Like, oh, the White House is giving more money to illegal immigrants than they are Americans hurt by hurricanes. That story, that's like a tier 2 story.
Yeah.
It's like a blip on the radar screen, barely a blip on the radar screen right now. And that would have been, I think, an example of a story that would have had massive impact. When we lived in reality, we lived in the real world. I don't know when we crossed over into Crazyville. I guess for you, Emily, being, a college kid, Gen Z, is it? I guess it's always, you don't. This is all you know,
these
right?
Headlines, like sometimes I'm like, yeah, and I like pretend like I'm like, other than the hurricane thing, I haven't heard of. Like, I wasn't like, I feel like I'm not, super as wired as I should be on some of the stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's always been kind of crazy. I mean, I was in 6th grade, and that's when I really started paying attention to politics, and that's when Trump was running.
Like every other normal.
So it's like, right. And so, I remember thinking back when he started running, I'm like, he's gonna win because he's the most entertaining. And like, that's when headlines started getting really crazy. I feel like that I can remember. At least that's when I started.
Like, you don't remember slow news days, right?
No,
you don't remember when there was nothing to talk about.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, that's the first election that I remember Obama running, which is shocking because like, what kid like my age probably remembers that? Like, and I was distraught when he won.
Hey man, that's why you got crazy. That's why you got an Emmy award. Other people don't.
But like, we used to do the kids vote thing, and I was like, I kind of knew what was going on with that, but just from what I had seen on ads and things like that. So like, ads were all I was going off of, which you can't really go off of that,
right?
But when Trump started running, I remember like everything just got a lot more entertaining, and that's kind of why I liked him too, because I'm like, this isn't boring. This is kind of funny, And I think ever since that, now it's all been people are saying crazy things, and nobody's eloquent. And
there used to be days, there used to be days,
nothing
all the time, where it would be like, there's nothing new to talk. Like, we're gonna have to try to find different ways to talk about the same story because there's nothing new. Now there's so much we can never get to all of it. Like, it went from famine to feast, like beyond feast, and not necessarily in a good way either. But yeah,
that's like McCleary talking about the October surprise says, "Don't jinx it, Tony."
Well, the October surprise could be, depending
There's
on
no
what
surprise.
side you're
it's like
on.
one of those horror movies where like you're waiting for
well, an October surprise could go either way. There could be an October surprise that's that is bad for Trump. There could be also an October surprise that's bad for Biden. It could go depending on what side you're on. It could go either way.
Harris.
Yeah, you're right. That's good catch. Yeah.
Who's president anymore though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he knows either. In fact, you know what? That's a perfect place to start. I'm going to definitely get into, I don't know if you were just listening to the Dan Bongino show, he played some clips from the JD Vance interview over the weekend. on ABC with Martha her, and it was pretty, pretty intense stuff. Not just on the election results question, which I have heard multiple places getting, that's getting, I think, the most airplay, but I think also the exchange when it came to illegal immigrants, specifically the situation with the gangs taking over the apartment buildings in Colorado. I think that exchange was just as impactful as the one about the 2020 election results. So we're definitely going to get into that. I think I'm going to play some of that sound and have that conversation when Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire joins us here in about 10 minutes. So definitely keep it here for that. Also today, we are going to talk to Aaron Tarlow, our gun expert here on Colombo and Company. He, of course, is the owner of Southern Armory. Great local gun store, the best local gun store in my opinion. And Aaron always is a big help when it comes to understanding, uh, gun laws, firearm policies, and what both sides are working on. What Republicans should be trying to secure as far as Second Amendment rights are concerned and that sort of stuff, and also what to watch out for on the left. So looking forward to having that conversation. He's going to join us. Aaron's going to be with us in about a half hour, about 2:45. So that'll be a great conversation. And then also, of course, every Monday at 3:05, we talk to Mike McCleary from Intervine, who is our tech expert and our AI expert. And Emily, when we started our conversations with Mike
Mhm.
a couple months ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at you're
Time,
so much
probably more
better at
like
time.
4, but it's
Yeah, you do that to me all the time. I'm like, we talked about this last
time
week,
just
didn't you?
goes
And you're like,
double as
that
fast
was
for you.
4 months ago. So we knew when we started that segment, however many months ago, that there was a lot there. That
Mhm.
AI, is a big deal. There's always something to talk about. Also when it comes to big tech, just in general, social media platforms and, how your phone's spying on you and all those sort of things. We all, we knew that there'd be plenty to talk about. We knew there was plenty of interesting stuff there. That segment, though, has become like one of the
Yeah, I
biggest,
use what he talks about too.
right?
I
Like
think this
that.
past week I was like, I had my notebook here that I was writing, and I was like, what was that called? And I
Yeah,
used it. And I'm
right.
like, okay,
The
thanks, Mike. Yeah,
perplexity.ai
perplexity
instead
thing.
of,
Yeah.
the search engine.
Which, yeah, I mean, that's super AI nerd talk, but like I was like, okay, I see how this can be. I think ChatGPT is just always gonna be my favorite thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I was using it to give ChatGPT sources. So, like,
Yeah.
okay, this helps me narrow down what sources I wanna
Putting
use.
two AIs
The issue is
together.
that with assignments that I'm, like, doing and using it for is, like, case studies and stuff, and so then I'm finding a bunch of other people's case studies, and I don't wanna plagiarize, so I'm, like, trying not it gives you a bunch of case studies because that's what you're looking for, and then I don't wanna use them, but it is really good. Like, for if you were actually, like, doing research, and you wanted a bunch of articles about something, it really helps because it already cites them too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, now you know where everything comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, it's in that segment has become one of the biggest, most insightful, educational. I get tons of feedback from it. That weekly segment, this
Mhm.
weekly segment has become a big deal, a lot of fun, and we've gone a lot of crazy places and had a lot of uh, uh, really great conversations with Mike McCleary from Intervine, and we are going to continue that today. Now I am just, hyper aware
Mhm.
of this stuff. I had another experience. I know I've said this before, but I know this is the biggest example of this
Mhm.
happening. I know I've said that before, but this really was because it happened again. Um, of the phone spying on you.
Mm.
This one was even weirder than the piano one, where I had a conversation with my
Mhm.
mom about she was wanting to get rid of a piano from her house, and we had a conversation, a physical in-person conversation where she was asking me about, do I know anybody that wants a piano or, like
Mhm.
piano movers or whatever. There was no
Yeah, why else would you get like, that's such a
There was
random
no
I've never gotten a piano
there was
mover
no
ad.
we weren't texting each other.
Yeah.
There was no digital footprint of this conversation at all. Not even text, not even
Mm-mm.
a phone call, and certainly not Google searches of, like, piano movers or
I
whatever,
saw
and
somebody's
I started
TikTok,
getting
yeah.
hammered with specific ads about pianos,
Crazy.
piano movers, piano lessons.
Yeah.
I think this one what happened to me over the weekend is even worse.
What happened?
I'm not gonna tell you until
Oh,
we
suspense.
get to that conversation with Mike at 3:05.
I've
So
seen ads or not ads, I've seen, like, TikTok videos of, like, it's like a joke, but, like, people making fun of their phone listening to you, and it'll be, like, a girlfriend, like, whispering, engagement rings," like,
you know what?
emerald cut. Like
That's really smart.
yeah, no, and then it gets you wedding dresses, engagement rings, baby, like, into
Yeah,
the phone, and then
yeah.
you start getting
If
ads
you
for that
want
stuff.
something for Christmas or for your
Start
birthday,
talking to the phone.
yeah, just grab your significant other's phone and just start like
Speaking to it,
yeah,
around it.
dropping hints, and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden those ads will stop
Start
popping up
popping
on
up,
their
subconscious.
on their videos and
I've seen
stuff.
so many
Yeah,
of those videos too, so people are aware that it's a real thing.
dude. That's a good one. You should
Mhm.
bring that up when we talk to Mike also. So all that goes down at just after 3 o'clock this afternoon, about 3:05. We'll get Mike on the line. Definitely looking forward to that. Before we get Virginia on and we talk about what happened on ABC last night with JD Vance, I just wanted to give a quick update because you'd mentioned who's the president right now. Well, apparently there's a battle for who's running the show in DC. An Axios report was released yesterday, and it says that there is growing tension and miscommunication between the White House and the Harris campaign.
Hmm.
National political correspondent Alex Thompson reported, quote, many senior Biden aides remain wounded by the president being pushed out of his reelection bid and are still adjusting to being in a supporting role on the campaign trail. Quote, they are too much in their feelings, one Harris ally reportedly told Axios about the situation at the White House. Thompson wrote that the main issue with some Harris campaign members is that White House aides, quote, aren't sufficiently coordinating Biden's messaging and schedule to align with what's best for the vice president's campaign. The report gets into, of course, the DeSantis stuff from last week, where at 1 minute, Joe Biden is talking about what a great job Ron DeSantis is doing with, handling hurricane relief and what a great job he's doing, coordinating and working hand in hand with the president, with Joe Biden. And then the next minute, Kamala Harris is making statements about how terrible Ron DeSantis is and how he's not talking to her and he's not doing a good job coordinating relief. So they looked really stupid, when that happens, when you've got Joe
Mhm.
Biden saying, hey, gotta give credit to Ron DeSantis for, how well he's communicating with us and what a great job he's doing. And then 1 second later, it's the vice president saying that, Ron DeSantis isn't communicating with us and he's not doing a good job. So that was dumb, but it goes a lot deeper than that. It goes a lot further into that. They claim the report claims that the two sides aren't talking, which means they're not on the same page, which is what is making them look so bad.
Mhm.
And these types of things are happening. And if it's happening now, obviously, it's only getting worse. It's only going to get worse over the next few weeks. So, how bad is that going to be? How much impact is that going to have on the election? We'll have to see as this plays out. But if they keep doing this,
Mhm.
they keep contradicting each other, and
Well,
Biden says one thing, Harris says another thing, and like
Biden's popularity
what type?
is already,
Yeah,
problematic, so
but I
most
mean,
Harris vote
if it highlights how messy
yeah,
the communication and it muddles the Democratic
yeah.
message, like
Mhm.
voters are going, wait a minute,
Which is it?
what's your
Yeah.
policy?
Yeah.
Which one am I? Like which path are we on? Because Joe
Nobody
Biden's
I
saying
feel like
one thing and
nobody's listening to Joe
Kamala
Biden.
Harris is saying another thing. Yeah, well, he is
The
the
president, right?
president
No.
right now.
You're joking.
Right this moment, Joe Biden is the
I just
president
forget that. I
of
don't
the United
really
States. He does.
it feels like we're presidentless right
So,
now.
yeah, so that's going to be something I think that could play a role definitely in this election and on voters if this continues to get if this miscommunication and as the report said, the hard feelings between the two sides continue to fester and be public, if that'll be, if that'll have impact in a negative way on the election for the Democrats and for Kamala Harris specifically. So something that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. All right. As I mentioned, a very contentious interview yesterday between JD Vance and Martha Raddatz on ABC. Two particular moments of that interview that I want to focus on. One about the 2020 election, and one about the border issue, but more specifically, the situation in Aurora, Colorado, with foreign gangs allegedly taking over apartment buildings, and just a really, I think, a major just slam dunk for JD Vance. I thought he did just a great job of handling this so loaded, obviously biased question and approach by Martha Raddatz. On the other one, on the election results, I want to get Virginia's opinion, and I want to hear, your opinion on, are they handling that issue correctly? So we'll play that sound. We'll have that conversation, and we will do it all next with Virginia Caruta from the Daily Wire here on Colombo and Company.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
If you're looking for a new vehicle, Weber Chevrolet is the place to go. 3 dealerships in the area to help you. So, one close to you, no matter where you are in the St. Louis area. You've got Creve Coeur in Missouri, and you've got Columbia and Granite City in Illinois. And we've talked about this before, very intentionally. Skip Weber has people, an entire department essentially, that is dedicated to making sure that every person, every customer of Weber Chevrolet has a good experience. And it shows, because they are the #1 rated Chevy dealer in the Midwest by a mile. Like, it's not even close. And it's because of that extra effort, that extra, as Skip has talked about before, a lot of places don't even have the position, that he has at Weber Chevrolet, that is literally there just to handle if there is an issue, if something does go wrong, or somebody has a bad experience at Weber Chevrolet, which is extremely rare. But when it does happen, they are on it. They make it right. And that is why they have that huge customer service ranking, better than anybody in the Midwest by a mile. It's not even close. It's their dedication to the service department, the way they take care of you in that vehicle for the entire time that you own it, which is why so many St. Louis families have shopped at Weber Chevrolet for generations. They have been in St. Louis for almost 125 years, which is amazing. And, I always say, you don't stick around in the same community for 125 years if you're not doing right by your customers. Learn about what's happening and all the great deals at all 3 Weber Chevrolet dealerships now by going to WeberChevrolet.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu beef French dip. So good. It's the au jus that makes it. And the Wagyu beef is pretty good, too. I love Capriati's, and you will, too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at DiscountTacticalArmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
Sievers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Sievers JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit SieversJCB.com.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 19th at the factory in the district in the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2025 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by sending an email to emails@royalbanksnet.com or by calling 314-212-1545.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Monday, all the craziness from around the weekend, plus a real-life American hero. The Allman Report, Monday on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 119.941 News Talk STL. Tony Colombo with producer Emily here in studio, and joining us on the line, as she does every Monday afternoon, is our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. Virginia, did you see the interview with J.D. Vance and Martha Raddatz on ABC News yesterday afternoon, and all the contention that was on display in that conversation?
If there is life on other planets, I think they saw it. It was everywhere.
Yes, it was. So I want to get into. I'm going to highlight specifically two moments from that interview that stood out the most to me. One, of course, is the continuing issue with the 2020 election results that I think that Democrats and members of the media are going to continue to make that question and that issue a thing with Trump and Vance. And it was exhibit A of why I think that is what happened yesterday. Before we get into that, I want to first play and talk about their exchange about illegal immigrants, specifically the apartments being taken over by migrants in Aurora, Colorado, and that whole situation. So we all know about, the Trump comments during the debate and the fallout since then. And here is yesterday, J.D. Vance and Martha Raddatz on ABC talking about that issue. Do you have me up over there, Emily? Okay, here is that exchange.
To support Donald Trump making those claims that the Republican mayor says were grossly exaggerated and have hurt the city's identity and sense of safety. I understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And
perfect, I think, answer by J.D. Vance there. Your thoughts when you hear that, Virginia?
Well, okay, somebody said this on Twitter, or X, Twitter. We all call it Twitter anyway. And I will say this: I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually referencing a different interview, but a similar topic with the New York Times reporter. And they basically said, look, they keep trying to bait J.D. Vance. If you are a reporter, you are not smarter than J.D. Vance. Like, trust me, it's not going to go well. Like, this is a guy, I mean, no reporter who watched the debate could think this is going to go well for me.
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that they know is that, oh, well, everybody, all the people that I care about are going to side with me anyway, so I can just go ahead and do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ego, to your point, the ego on display there by Martha Raddatz, that she would be like, I'm good enough, and I'm,
I'm smart enough.
I'm smart enough.
Yeah,
Exactly. That she, does and she did it throughout the interview. Like, Senator, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you because you're lying.
It reminded me of what's her name, interrupting Trump when he was talking about the Hunter Biden Hunter Biden story, and that was debunked. Sir.
Yeah, sir.
Leslie Stahl.
Leslie Stahl. Yeah, sir. Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Like they're stopping him. And the thing is, if they had a good counter argument, they'd let him talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because you want to. Always give your opponent just enough rope to hang himself, right?
Right. Yes.
And the thing is, and that's the other thing. If you're looking at this, it is absolutely clear. They're not even hiding it anymore. The media interviewing J.D. Vance want you to know that they are opposed to him.
Yeah. Yeah, that they're fighting and they're calling
They don't
him
want
out.
him to answer the question.
Yeah.
They want to trap him in a question of their own design.
Yeah, and let me just say,
the same way they treat Trump.
Yeah, I don't mind a reporter saying, "Let me stop you," when if somebody is lying or they have, they're clearly saying something that the facts or the proof.
See, they think,
but they
would
don't
say that's
do
what
that.
they're doing. The problem
Right.
is the proof that they offer is not true,
and they don't do it to Walz or Harris or anybody on where has this been for the last 4 years? Where has been fact checking and holding them to holding them to account and asking the same question 3 or 4 times in a row when you're not getting an answer from it? Where has that been with the president and the vice president all of this time? You're clearly capable of it, Martha Raddatz. So where has that been? And then J.D. Vance's answer of, do you hear the line? Do you hear yourself, Martha? I think was so great because he's so right. The story should be, there are apartment buildings in America that have been taken over by foreign gangs. But she's just like, it's only a few. It's only a few apartment buildings. And what Donald Trump said, his characterization of it is the problem.
Did you see what Vance posted afterward?
I did not.
They posted the video, and he's like, look, the only acceptable number of American apartments taken over by Venezuelan gangs is 0. Like, what is this?
Yeah, that's the story.
Is there a quota that they're allowed to get to? When do you guys get outraged?
Right. Yeah.
When it's your apartment complex?
That's the story.
Some complaints then.
Right. The story is, there are buildings in America that have been taken over by foreign gangs. That's the story.
Yes.
Not the former president who's running for president may have mischaracterized the seriousness of the situation or exactly what's happening there. I mean, it's so clearly biased, and not just with the questions and with the fact checking and with asking the questions over and over again, with the topic, with just the conversation. It's so obvious that it's how one-sided the media is. So I thought big win for JD Vance, and you never know. One interview, I don't know how much impact it has, but I think maybe that if there is a moment that broke through with some voters, I think it's that. Do you think that?
Well, there's that, and then there were some clips of a New York Times interview that they put out, and it was Lulu Garcia Navarro was the reporter interviewing him, and she did the same thing. She questioned him. She asked him 5 times whether or not he believed that Trump lost the 2020 election.
Yeah.
And Vance
which
was
we're
like,
about to get into that here with Martha Raddatz too.
Yeah. And he pushed back, and he's like, look, I think Trump and I have been clear that we think that there are problems in the 2020 election. But here's the thing. Do you believe that mass censorship of a major story that independent reviewers say probably impacted the vote to the tune of millions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that's okay? And she's like, well, I'm asking you again, did Trump lose the 2020 election? And he's like, well, okay, but is censorship okay?
Yeah. Let me play that. Let me play that sound. Go ahead and put me up over there, Emily. I'm going to play that exchange, and then let's continue to talk about it with Virginia Kruger from the Daily Wire, who is joining us right now. Here is Martha Raddatz and JD Vance on the 2020 election yesterday on ABC.
Here, we're just about out of time here. And I want to end with this. In interview after interview, question after question, and in the debate, you refuse to say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. So I'm just going to assume that if I ask you 50 times whether he lost the election, you would not acknowledge that he did. Is that correct?
Martha, you asked this question. I've been asked this question 10 times in the past couple of weeks. Of course, Donald Trump and I believe there were problems in 2020. You haven't asked about inflation.
No, I'm sorry. Let's stick to this. I know.
American people want us to talk about how to make their lives better. They don't want us to.
Why won't you say that?
Because, Martha, I believe that in 2020, when big tech firms were censoring American citizens, that created very serious problems. And by the way, Martha, you're a journalist. You represent the American media. Look at the polling on this. A lot of Americans feel like they were silenced in the run-up to the 2020 election. That is such a bigger issue. That fundamental problem than me and Donald Trump talking about it. And unfortunately,
but
Martha,
I don't understand why you won't just say it if you believe it.
Won't just say what? That I think the 2020 election had some problems? I've said that repeatedly.
Did Donald Trump lose? That's the question. And you know that's the question.
Martha, I've said repeatedly, I think the 2020 election had problems. You want to say rigged? You want to say he won? Use whatever vocabulary term you want. I want to focus on the fact that we had big technology firms censoring our fellow citizens in a way that violated our fundamental rights. The fact that you're so obsessed with what word I use to describe this phenomenon rather than the phenomenon itself suggests something very broken in the American media. If we want to restore trust in American elections and democracy, which I want to do, Martha, we have to talk openly about what happened in 2020. And most importantly, we've got to talk about what happened afterwards. Okay. Americans being unable to afford the basic necessities of middle-class life.
So I thought, Virginia, that his answer to this question in the debate with Tim Walz was the worst moment for him in an otherwise pretty dominant performance.
Yeah,
this I thought was a better answer, but I still, but it's still going to be one of those things that I think haunts Trump and Vance, and we're gonna keep hearing this over and over again. How do you like the way he handled this?
A couple of things. One, the people who are offended by the fact that he won't come out and say it weren't going to vote for him anyway.
That's a good point.
A lot of the people who are going to vote for him might not, if he did say it. Might reconsider, like, hey, if he's not really on board with this, am I really okay with that? That said, I don't think he really gains or loses much ground as far as votes are concerned. For those of us who are uncomfortable with politicians evading questions in that way, it is hard to watch because you're like, oh gosh, is he going to break? What's going to happen here? How
or just answer the question so we don't have to hear it anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, but here's we were thinking this. My husband and I were thinking this when we were listening to him. We're like, why didn't he just say, "Well, was Joe Biden inaugurated?"
Right.
Next question.
So we're like, Virginia.
Can we move on now?
Yeah, unfortunately we're almost out of time. We got to talk to.
The thing is, they won't move on until he answers that question in the way that they want him to.
Right. So let me ask you this last question because we're out of time here. We're going to talk to Aaron Tarlow, our gun expert, here in just a moment on the show. But if he would to answer that question, if JD Vance answered that question, obviously he lost because Joe Biden is the president. Obviously he lost, but we believe that there was lots of issues that need to be addressed, and we
Yeah.
are focused on those. Like, what's wrong with just giving that answer? And I don't know if the media would accept that. I don't know if that would put this to bed. Probably not. But
I think because the consensus is that he lost. However, if you are going to get an accurate vote count, the thing is, even if you get an accurate vote count, what Vance is saying is there wasn't an accurate vote because people were voting based on bad information. So you can't. What he's saying is that the election is almost invalid. It's not that Trump won or didn't win. It's that the entire thing was invalid if you had all of this false information that was. I mean, it's like you go to a restaurant and they say, "Well, do you want this item or this item?" And they give you a list of ingredients, but it's all BS.
Right.
And then what they actually bring you has something that you're allergic to in it. Like,
no, I get it.
Okay,
I get it,
but that's your fault. Like,
Yeah.
And then they say, well, you chose it.
Right. No, I get it, and I agree. I just wonder if he would just say, yes, he lost, but there was a lot of problems, and there was a lot of unanswered questions that we need to look into.
No, because then the headline would be, J.D. Vance admits it.
Yeah.
Trump lost.
Yeah. And
they wouldn't even address the rest of the question.
Yeah.
Now you have to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
He's filibustering for a point.
Great point. That's why I wanted to ask you that question, because that is a great point. That is Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. You can check out her articles every day at thedailywire.com, also on our website, newstalkstl.com, and of course, every Monday afternoon here with us on Colombo and Company. Virginia, thanks as always for your time, my friend. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Sure.
Thanks. All right. Moving on to one of the big issues in every election, nationally and locally. We are going to talk about the gun issues and the Second Amendment and some of the local and national issues that could have an impact on Election Day this year with our firearms expert, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory, joins us next on Colombo and Company.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
It's time that everybody wake up and pay attention.
Live and local.
Recent criminal indictment of Donald Trump. About the fourth one. The fourth one. The one he got the free gift with. I think it's a tote bag.
This is News Talk STL.
So I said earlier, I can't believe, that we're already halfway through the month of October. That is absolutely crazy, but still plenty of time to take advantage of a great offer this month from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Zero Res has been in our home many, many times. I couldn't even count how many times over the years they have brought our house back to life. They can clean any surface better than anybody else. So whether it be furniture, upholstery, tile, air ducts, carpets, of course, Zero Res is the team to call. And right now they have a great offer for the month of October, a scary good offer, if you will, this time of year. If you book a cleaning in the month of October and mention the Colombo special, when you do, you will get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, which is already amazing. Plus, you can take $75 off in air duct cleaning. Again, we talked about how important your carpet is in your home. Not only is it a huge investment, but it's also the biggest air filter in your home. So if you haven't had Zero Res out, if they haven't been cleaned recently, you are rebreathing, you and your family, all the germs and bacteria and allergens, trapped in your carpet. So take advantage of this great deal and get your carpets cleaned with this amazing offer. Again, book a cleaning this month with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special when you do, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning if you'd like that service as well. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same, Zero Res.
Transform your space with JML Interior Design in Clayton. For 32 years, local woman business owner Jeanne Lachmet has been creating stunning interiors that reflect your vision. From residential to commercial, kitchens to retail spaces, JML Interior Design brings expertise to every project. Jeanne and her team deliver great designs that work. Call 314-453-4233 or visit jmlinteriors.net. JML Interior Design. We just don't dream it. We do it.
She learned the value of hard work and responsibility at her family's small business at an early age. Ann Wagner took those same hard-working Missouri values to Washington. She's made it her job to keep the radical left from harming your job. Today, in the midst of Joe Biden's out-of-control inflation, Ann Wagner protects us by working to lower costs for families. As a mother of 3, she understands the work and has done it to keep your home and community safe. That's why Ann Wagner fought to secure our border and stop traffickers from smuggling fentanyl and illegal immigrants into our communities, and why she gave law enforcement the tools they need to defend us. And Ann Wagner took a stand against the defund the police radicals who will leave us in harm's way. She'll always back our brave law enforcement officers, putting conservative values to work for us. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL, rolling right along on this Monday afternoon. And joining us now on the line is our buddy Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory, a great local gun store, the best gun store in the area, in my opinion. And Aaron, always such a big help when it comes to talking about the Second Amendment and various gun laws. So, Aaron, as always, really appreciate your time this afternoon, my friend.
Hi, Tony.
Hi,
How are
buddy.
you?
I am well. Thank you for being here. So I want to dive right in because there's a few things I want to talk to, and we have only what only what the gods give us, the radio gods give us in time. So we have talked a lot lately, and we'll continue to talk a lot because the Second Amendment and gun rights and all of that always plays such a huge issue or huge role in elections, both locally and nationally. But I wanted to back up a little bit because we've kind of been getting into policy and getting like into the weeds and down the road a little bit. And, sometimes, you lose the forest through the trees. And I wanted to just back up and have talk to you about, some of the basic issues that we've talked about in the past, just like the importance that people place on the Second Amendment and how we've seen people realize how important that right is to them, especially in recent times. Like you and I have talked during the pandemic and when protests were breaking out all over the country. When those issues happen, you see at Southern Armory and we see across the industry, a rush of people purchasing guns, and specifically a lot of first time gun owners, people that never thought that they were going to be a gun person, now realizing, wow, Second Amendment's here for a reason, and I'm going to take advantage of it in case somebody tries to mess with these rights. We haven't talked about that in a while. Has that momentum, I know it can't possibly be at the same level as it was, when it felt like, there was a protest on every street in the country there for a while. But has that momentum generally carried over? Do you still see people at the shop and first-time gun owners more than you would have in past years and things like that? Do you feel like that momentum is still on the side of, people wanting to support their Second Amendment rights?
It's like a river. It will, I want to say wax and wane. That's the moon, but ebb and flow would probably be the better result. So we've seen that uptick of people going, well, wow, look at what's happening. Then like Tennessee and Kentucky, and they're coming in and they're trying to figure out kind of, where they stand and what they would need. But until something unfortunately happens more on a local level, you're not going to see necessarily that big influx like we did, when there was, protests all across the metro area and the threat of violence.
It's kind of a side, staying on topic, but just a little side thing here, because I'm looking at the video on television right now. Did you see Tim Walz trying to load a shotgun? Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So in the last 7 days, we saw Kamala Harris trying to use a shovel to plant a tree, and she clearly has never picked up a shovel. And then Tim Walz brings a camera crew out on a pheasant hunt, thinking that he's going to appeal to the, Christian conservative, God-fearing, gun-owning Christian conservative, because I'm just like you. I have a gun. I know what I'm doing. And he looks like it's pathetic. And I don't even think he ever gets the gun loaded. I mean, just what was your reaction to that video?
Yeah, I'm like, no way. I think my actual response was maybe he have a better chance of loading that weapon of war he carried when he was in a combat zone.
Yeah, how was he in the military and doesn't know how to load a shotgun, Aaron?
Right.
Because don't your eyes tell you, like, this is a person who's never held a firearm before?
I believe he's a gun person as much as Kamala has a Glock. Okay.
That's what they want us to believe, though. That's what they want us to believe.
Hey,
but
man, I mean, there's other lies they tell you too. So
yeah, you got that right.
Hey, it is what it is.
Talk about the ultimate backfire. And if you want to laugh, it's so easy to find the video of him. He's got all decked out. He's got his orange vest on and all his buddies around him, and he's just struggling.
That orange vest is pretty bright blaze orange too. Like probably
very clean.
I'm surprised that they ironed it to get the fold lines out of it.
Yeah, don't think that one's seen much action in the woods or anything else. No,
I mean mine's filthy.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I come back and you are even an OxyClean. It's like, maybe it's time for a new one. So
also one of the other things that we've talked about in recent years, not only the people embracing their Second Amendment rights, maybe at a level that we had never seen in the past, but also we had like every other industry, a lot of supply chain issues. Has that gotten better, and is that no longer a concern for you at Southern Armory?
Hit and miss. Obviously there's certain calibers got kind of hit pretty hard, especially with the U.S. giving the old new stock to Ukraine, and then basically monopolizing what was coming out. And then, of course, the supply chain issues that we always complain about in industry that we've talked about before is, they release a new firearm, the demand is insane, and it seems like they don't produce any. And dealers that are putting their orders in will get one or two, when we've got orders for 20 or 30. And then, they may be able to fulfill those orders, with time. But, it's not like other industries where they announce they're going to release something and they have a warehouse full of it so they can roll it out and really take advantage of that momentum they built up with the press releases and the reviews and the influencers on your YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, etc. So that's the kind of the norm kind of for the firearms industry, and that's been a pet peeve of mine back since we started the business in 2010. So we come in like, oh yeah, I just read this article that they're bringing out this brand new gun, and it says like, you go and you log into either the manufacturer or wholesaler, and it says, like, coming soon. And it's like, okay, great. I mean, it's out. It's being tested by all these people, and it's not available. And then it'll go from like coming soon to allocated, and the manufacturers will send out, like 20 or 30 to a wholesaler, and then that wholesaler will distribute them or try to distribute them pretty evenly amongst all the dealers in the nation. So with us, we've at least diversified. We use pretty much every major wholesaler in the U.S. and even some of the minor wholesalers in the U.S. And with that all being said, we
make sure
get
you
those
always
allocated guns in, etc.
Yeah, so you have what your customers need there at Southern Armory. Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. before we let you go, if there's one lesson that can be taken away from that video with Tim Walz would not have struggled like that had he bought that shotgun from Southern Armory, because he would have gotten the lesson, the education, and the information that he needs about that firearm. Aaron, before we wrap this up,
and more importantly, we would have sent him home with snap caps with directions to practice.
Yes,
good gun handling, good safety, and good order of arms. So he didn't look like a fool when he was out hunting with his buddies.
Yeah, remind folks where Southern Armory is and what you guys are all about.
Yeah, so we want to be your hometown gun store. You're more than just a customer. We're located 1 mile east of 270-44 at 9901 Watson Road. You can find us on Facebook and southernarmory.com.
That's southernarmory.com, and that is Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. Aaron, always appreciate your time and insight. Go ahead, please.
One of our great fans suggested that from now on we should call these segments Driving with Aaron.
Oh, okay.
I feel like you're always grabbing me in the car when I'm not going to get the kiddo or running around. And occasionally I'll be able to get in, to the studio with you guys. But he said you should call it Driving with Aaron.
I like it.
I'm going to mention that.
Usually, you're right. That is usually how it works. And we can't thank you enough for always taking out a few minutes to help us when it comes to this very important issue. Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. Thanks, my friend. Great talking with you. And we'll talk to you very soon.
Bye.
Yep. Have a great rest of your day. That is Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. As he mentioned, southernarmory.com, firearms, ammo, but also, the pepper spray and so many other products and services that they have out there at Southern Armory for the outdoorsman, for the gun owner. Get out there and check them out and learn more at southernarmory.com. All right, we are going to talk to our tech expert, our AI expert, Mike McCleary, next on Colombo Company.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer. Are you ready to stand up for life? Meet Navy veteran and Republican candidate for State Senate District 1, Robert Crump. Endorsed by Missouri Right to Life, Crump is a fierce guardian for all life, from the unborn to the elderly. He stands strong like the Gateway Arch, bold and unshakable with the force of freedom. Robert Crump is the clear choice for traditional family values. Go for the leader who will protect our most vulnerable, Robert Crump.
Paid for by Crump for State Senate 2024. Chris Clark, Treasurer.
When you make a big promise, you have to back it up with big actions, and that's what my friends at Window World do. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. Give them a call today, 314-993-1800. They are simply the best for less. Double strength glass windows that have a lifetime warranty on them. And now for the first time ever, Window World offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Get your free in-home estimate today. Give them a call, 314-993-1800.
Attention St. Charles, looking for a local spot that satisfies all your cravings? Mario's Donut Restaurant is your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches and omelets to delicious gyros, Mexican dishes, salads, and wraps, we've got it all. And don't forget our famous donuts. They're so good, they'll make your eyes glaze over. Dine in or carry out, our friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit. Call 636-447-4515 or visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Tampa resident Brooke Cars-Tinson, whose home was flooded by Hurricane Helene, says the community has really come together to help one another.
We all have our hurricane or our bug out kits or our hunker down kits, and everyone has like the chainsaw or the tarp or this or that. But really the most important thing for us was the community we'd built. And that made all the difference for both the hurricane rescue and the recovery, and now hopefully the restoration.
President Biden surveyed hurricane damage on Sunday. As of this morning, Florida power companies had restored electricity to almost 90% of the 3.4 million homes and businesses that lost service after Milton made landfall last Wednesday. Lines for gasoline also seeming considerably shorter. Federal disaster workers have changed some of their hurricane recovery efforts in North Carolina, including abandoning door-to-door visits after receiving threats. The threats that they could be targeted by militia emerged over the weekend. Also at townhall.com, the United States will send more equipment and some troops to Israel. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with that report.
At the direction of President Biden, the Pentagon authorized the deployment of an advanced missile defense system to Israel, along with U.S. military personnel to operate it. A Pentagon spokesman said the system will help bolster Israel's air defenses following Iran's ballistic missile attacks this year. Israel is widely believed to be preparing a military response to Iran's launching of 180 missiles into Israel earlier this month. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And it was a higher close on Wall Street. The Dow was up 203 points. The NASDAQ Composite added 159. More at townhall.com.
The Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Rafe Fiennes, Stanley Tucci.
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters October 25th.
For anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Some cool autumn days on tap for early this week. The high today in the low to mid 60s under partly cloudy skies. A little bit of a breeze, but that breeze picks up tomorrow. Overnight lows mainly in the 40s tonight. The high tomorrow in the upper 50s. Sunny skies and breezy too, so a chilly breeze. We could see some scattered frost in some outlying areas on Wednesday morning. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Fox News commentary.
Obama is pressing the panic button and shaming black men into voting for Kamala. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Kamala's campaign is struggling when they send in the Obamas, and you know Kamala is struggling with male voters, particularly black male voters, when former President Obama not only flat out admits that, but then subtly pressures them to vote for her out of little more than allegiance to him and their own skin color. At an unannounced campaign stop at Kamala's field office in Pittsburgh, Barack Obama didn't mince words. Not only did he acknowledge Kamala's struggle to win over male voters, he shamed, quote, brothers for possibly having sexist motivations for their lack of support and enthusiasm for Kamala. It's pretty obvious that Obama believes Democrats own the black vote and that it's somehow owed to the party. I don't care how beloved and popular the Obamas still are. The guilt strategy isn't going to goat men or any undecided voter to cast a ballot based on pure identity politics. Kamala wasn't popular in 2019 for a reason, and it had nothing to do with gender or race. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Colombo and Company, Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch
News Talk STL.
Shiloh late at night.
Tony woke up with quite a fright. Vampires lurking, giving her a scare. But don't worry, folks, the family's aware. Mike, Connor, Frecky, and Penny the Pop.
Let's go.
In the dark of nights, they all
Rise up, let's
with
go.
garlic and crosses, they head out the door to chase those vampires away for sure.
Who says AI can't make good music? Welcome back to Colombo Company on 109.94.1 News Talk STL. That great song there brought to you by our next guest, Mike McCleary from Intervine, our tech expert, our AI experts, our flashlight expert we talk to every week. It's on the line with us. Mike, how are you, my friend?
And music producer.
And
Don't
music
forget that.
producer. Listen,
That's right.
That's a banger, bro. Like that's a good song. That will get stuck in your head. It's a catchy little.
I kid you not. We've been humming it around the house all weekend long, and just over the weekend, my wife Tony was laughing because she heard me humming it. She's like, "Oh my god, you are so weird," and she's right. Let's face it, she's right.
Listen, I love it. I love it. You can you want to hear the whole song? It's on YouTube. Vampires of Shiloh, and it's the origin story is all a nightmare that Mike's wife had that he turned into #1 summer jam.
Over 2,000 views, and
Let's
rising.
go. Nice. Well, man, we think that might be your new theme song, at least through Halloween. I think it has to be. So
I hear you have a challenge for me today.
Well, not a challenge. I just have another experience that I want to share with you and get everybody's thoughts on. I admit that I am now like hyper aware of this. So there's a part of me that may be like looking for instances of our phones spying on us or something like that maybe, isn't the truth because, or isn't as bad as I thought it was because I'm looking for it. But this instance is I think undeniable. So over the weekend, we had water leaking into our laundry room, and it was coming from my son was upstairs taking a bath, and there was as I discovered after we drained the bathtub, there was a crack in the tub, and it was right above the laundry room, and that's where this water was coming down and dripping on in the laundry room. And while this is happening, it's mass chaos at the Colombo house because I am supposed to be leaving to go pick up my daughter Maggie from the high school football game, the homecoming football game. So she's waiting for me to come pick her up, but there's water pouring into the laundry room, so I can't just leave that situation as is. So I did text Maggie, but this is all I said. I said, we have a leak. That's all I said. We have a leak. I got to take care of this. I'm running just a few minutes behind. I'll be right there. And, just to let her know why I was running a few minutes behind to pick her up from the football game. And then when she's in the car, I'm telling her about what just happened. And I say that, I couldn't, I had to make sure that this was all stopped. I had to make sure that the water wasn't dripping down anymore because it was dripping down in the laundry room, and it was getting too close and dripping on like the water heater and the furnace. And I said that to her. This was not in the text, and this was nothing else. I said water dripping on the water heater and the furnace, and that could have gotten bad if I didn't make sure it was taken care of. The next YouTube video that I watched on my phone, the very first ad was for an HVAC company, and specifically, so an HVAC company, so furnace, right there, and an HVAC company that also has the specific service of replacing water heaters. So the very first ad, and this is an HVAC company that I have I'm aware of, but I have never received one of their ads before. I've never seen one of their commercials before. And the very first one is like the very first words were like, Is it time to replace that old leaky water heater? And I was like, I mean, you have got to be kidding me.
And that's not the common thing that HVAC companies like advertise for.
Exactly.
I'd say 9 out of 10 is for like, hey, get your heaters tuned up.
Furnaces and air conditioners, right? Yeah, but this company does it all apparently. And the very first words of the ad were something, I don't know if this is exactly, but it was something very close to, is it time to replace that old leaky water heater? And I mean, Mike, like, I know they're listening, but
yeah,
whoa, like that is awfully specific.
I can think of 3 scenarios here.
Let's hear them.
One, have you recently been a part of Elon Musk's Neuralink brain computer interface implant?
No, but I am. I'm willing to. I'll get on the waiting list if it's available.
Okay. 2, let's see. Have you tried to manifest an alternate reality to come to life in this reality that is a completely different way of looking at life, that they know what's going to happen, they know what you might need to have fixed?
I believe in the Mandela effect.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Is that good enough? Okay.
Yeah, so you haven't like jumped timelines or anything. Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
Then I'm thinking it's probably like, I'm assuming you had your phone with you, right? And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which phone was in my
I think
pocket?
we're back to the old thing. If I had to guess and like not be a conspiracy theorist talking about, chips and timelines, all kind of thing, I gotta believe that the devices are listening. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's not even that effect where like, oh yeah, I'm paying attention more to these ads and picking it up. It was the very first thing you turned on, talking to your need.
Yes. Yeah, and like using the words of things that just happened, like leaky and water heater. Like
yeah.
I mean, just it really made me go. My reaction was I immediately as soon as the spot started, like my eyes like went wide and I grabbed like my notes app and typed for this conversation because I was like, oh my God, I've got to talk to this. I got to talk about this when Mike's on, because this is wild. And look, we've talked about them. The phones listening, and I've told my piano story. I referenced it a little bit earlier. I'm not going to retell it, but just like where I've had instances where there's no digital footprint, not even a text or not even a phone call, where it's just a conversation that I'm having, an in-person conversation I'm having, where all of a sudden I'm getting ads regarding the topic of that conversation with no Google search or even a text sent to somebody. That happens.
I mean, and the weird thing is the specificity of
that's
that,
what I that's
as well.
Exactly. So that's what I wanted to ask you, because like I'm totally there with they're listening, and there's like the bots it's not people, it's the algorithm, it's the bots, it's the AI, and they're listening for keywords, but this is not like a keyword. Like this was a specific scenario. So does that sound like how sophisticated is your guess that that this type of listening is on these phones? Like how in depth and specific are they? Because this seemed like another level to me.
Yeah, it's incredibly specific they can be. So first off, what's been around for a while now is, think of Google advertising, and any of your listeners who've ever done any kind of business where they've done some advertising. Google now allows you to just give it a whole bunch of, let's call it like descriptions and titles and things like that, in all different types of combinations. And so let's say that you do have an HVAC company. They'll say, okay, give us a list all the products that you sell, then list all the services you provide, then list all of the scenarios you provide these in. And on a Google search, they'll combine those into the one they think is really going to give the answer to someone like you, specifically looking for that. So they have the ability to do that right now, like to create these ads, and they'll create new ones. Like they use AI just to take those combinations and create something that sounds very, very authentic, like a person's speaking to you for what you need. I have not heard this, but I believe that they can do this now too, that they already they know what all these video ads and audio ads are about, that they're listening, they're transcribing everything. So I would imagine, like, let's just say that somehow they still can hear when we're talking, whether our devices are meant to be doing that or not. And they can go out there and search through millions of ads, and they can find one that is speaking to what you are currently talking about right now, because they do have that technology that's there. And a lot of these ads that you hear now on the radio and also on TV, like Hulu, Amazon Prime, those are ads that are put together by like small businesses. And they now have this large catalog of small business ads that they can just go through and serve up when they feel like the person watching that show has a need for what that service is.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly what I wanted to get into a little bit more, was as a business owner that buys ads on the internet, like, and just also to your gut, if you, as far as, things that you haven't personally experienced, just what is your opinion on this? When you are that HVAC company, right, that's going to advertise on YouTube or through Google or however it works, like, how involved is the company in that? Is this just part of the service with Google? Like, Google just says, hey, you tell us your demographic, you tell us your customer region and whatever it may be, and we'll do the rest. Or are they are the business owners or the companies going in and saying, I want this specific, target, and here's the keywords and the phrases that I want you to look for? Like, who's doing the majority of that? Is it the Google side, the data side, or the business side?
It's the data side. Like, they're going down this route where they used to have over a dozen different type of specific ads you can choose, whether it's search, video, audio, shopping. There was Gmail ads, display. They had all these kinds. They are going towards what they call this Performance Max campaign. That is the one type of advertising they're trying to push, where it does everything. All they want you to do, like in a perfect world, you just give them your website. And then this campaign, this Google bot would go out there and review everything you offer on your website, and it would do the rest. It would pull down any videos it finds, any audio, any images. It would read through all the text to understand about your business, and then it would create an entire set of advertisements for you, so you have to do nothing. So it knows who to serve it to, when to serve it to them, and where to send them. Like, they're trying to take all that out of the business owner's hands, not as a bad thing, not trying to like say,
no, it's a service. They're providing a service. They're saying we have the, very targeted, and so as we continue down the road, we're talking to Mike McCleary from Intervine, our tech expert here on Colombo and Company. Does it work? It must work, right? Like, it's weird for me, because I've always been skeptical and a pessimist, and the people, like, they're spying on us and all that stuff. So when I see an ad on YouTube, it's not something, or on a website or whatever, that doesn't appeal to me. That's not how I do my research. That's not how I find products and services. But it must work. Like, by and large, it must work if it's getting to be so prevalent and so in depth, because it can't be cheap. It can't be easy to program this mass, to listen for all of these things. So if you're going to invest such resources in creating this service, it must work. Like, I know you do some ad, like, does that data collection and that targeted advertising work that well for these businesses?
Yeah, it does. And the more that it gets used, the better it gets. Now, at first, most things like this, when they first come out, they work terribly.
Yeah.
And
right.
they want you to use it. Yeah, and they do. Like, when these types of campaigns, and all the companies went the way, Facebook's going this route, Google's went this route, Amazon's kind of went this route. When these, we call them black boxes, because you don't know what you're doing. You just like say, hey, here's my business, here's my website, go spend my money, and hopefully you make back some money. When they start off, they're terrible because they're learning, but they get better. And within like a year and a half, this Google type of ad has already gotten a lot better. And the more people adopt it, the better it will get. And they're all going down that route where and think about the massive amount of data they have. They know exactly who people are, what they want, what you have to offer. They know who's looking to buy. They know the different funnels, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom, all these marketing terms that business owners don't really know that well and don't want to become a marketing expert. You want to do your business. You want to install water heaters. You want to fix air conditioners and
Mhm.
heaters. You don't want to become a marketing master. So they're trying to help that way, and they do work, and they're getting better and better. And my hope is, here's the positive mic coming up. My hope is the better these get, the better it makes for small business and the better it makes for the consumer. Because I don't mind hearing about an ad when I really do need something like that, and I can trust the company that I'm gonna, hear that ad from.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I guess that's the difference for me because, of course, I'm not playing dumb on this because I obviously I understand how this works because it works like that in radio and has for 100 years. Politicians buy, when there's an election, politicians buy ads on this radio station, not the, not the top 40 radio station per se, because this station is where the most active people, voters and things like that, this is where they're going to be, not over there. So, you want to fish where the fish are, and, you want to target specific audiences, and like what the age group, the demographics of, who's listening to what radio stations and all, that stuff. So I've been doing that my whole life, but I expect it and almost want it when I'm listening to something like a radio station, or content like that. If I'm watching a political podcast and there's a political ad, like that may get me to look into that ad or that customer, or that business. But if I'm watching a true crime video, I don't want to see I don't want all of a sudden to be marketed to about something else that so for me, it just that I don't want to see that then, and it doesn't work. But I guess that that's just not how it works for most people, because I guess that it has to work really well. Otherwise people wouldn't be doing it.
And you're right. We have the same issue, Tony, is that most of the world isn't like us. Let's face it. On
Thank
so
God.
many levels, so many levels. Yeah, thank God. I would not want to live in that world. Right? Kind of scary. But I mean, because we live in this world where there's marketing stuff like that, we're very prone and keen to pick up on those kinds of things. And I'm like you, I don't want anyone marketing to me unless I'm going out there and looking specifically to be marketed to.
Right.
That's kind of the way I am. Most people, though, they try to make it as seamless as possible. And you have options: Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. They're hoping people pay for the higher level service to bypass getting served ads. Same thing with YouTube and YouTube TV. But you can always get the free version of it where you're going to get served with ads, and that kind of funds it over there. I think that's a good blend, a good mix. I just hate,
That's a great point.
a realization. Hate to think how many paid TV services I have right now between Hulu and Netflix. Whole nother topic.
And now we're the old men, and me specifically, I'm the old man that's just this crazy technology, you kids. I remember Mike when you got the first telemarketer on your cell phone, and it was you can't call cell phones. This is illegal. You are breaking the law. You're calling my cell phone and trying to, sell me some siding or a new roof or whatever it may be. That was unheard of. So that's kind of the same thing with I don't want to hear this while I'm watching my, a ghost video, a paranormal, the top 10 scariest ghost videos of 2024. I don't want to see, HVAC ads during that, but I bet, and Emily, you would know, Emily, for you, that's probably that's the way it's always been. You're used to being advertised to when you're engaged in content, when you're watching the internet in any way, right? It's just
algorithms
very
are
normal
trained
for you.
to, when you go on TikTok or Instagram, right? It's all
right
videos that's what an algorithm is,
Right.
right? You're a user who, I think a lot of it, because some of it's really random, and I accidentally get on really random TikTok trends for a while. Because if I just
I know about
keep watching
rabbit
a
holes. I
video,
get it.
then now all of a sudden everything is this really niche thing that I watched for too long, and now
Right,
I've got
now
it happened for me with the hurricane.
Now
'cause I
TikTok
was
thinks that
doing,
this is the most important thing in your
yeah,
life.
exactly. I'm like, oh no, now I'm, but then of course it's an endless cycle, because I'm like, oh,
Right.
Chernobyl TikTok was one that I got on for a while. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
I was came across one video about dogs after Chernobyl, and now all of a sudden my feed's like nothing but like radiation nerd stuff. I'm like,
So
this
Emily,
is not.
do you intentionally go out there and like start clicking on other videos just to reset the like algorithm?
Sometimes I actually will. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure. I mean, okay, one thing that actually
We're being trained by the
one
computers.
thing that sucks a ton. I manage the hockey team for Lindenwood, right? And I edit a lot of video and post a lot of video with hockey stuff. So then I'm interacting with a lot of other stuff because I'll save things because I like want to do it myself and like use the sound that they used or use this. So now on Instagram, because I've saved so much stuff or sent it to other people to like remind me to make it, I am now on hockey TikTok or hockey reels, which is so annoying because my life has way too much of that already. And so to like just want to scroll, and now I'm like, oh, this is too much hockey, and I'm
Yeah.
not even into it, but it thinks I am because
the
I do it for like
Instagram bots
work.
think that you
They
are
they
the
think that I'm-
biggest hockey
and
fan
I'm like,
on earth.
Now the difference between watching my reels, versus my boyfriend's used to be like mine are, like girly aesthetic and fun. His are hockey, and now I'm getting double served that, and it's like, no, stop, please.
My
But it's
favorite
not gonna
feature
stop.
is the TikTok refresh, by the way. If you haven't done it yet, do it. Go to your profile, settings, privacy, content, tap refresh. It'll clear out everything, and you'll just like the only thing know about you is like what you tell it your age
And what you follow, probably, right?
Yeah, I've had to do it a couple times
Yeah.
because like as I go down these paths too, I'm just starting to serve the exact same
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's always
Which,
beautiful
honestly, my
women. I try to
TikTok's really
explain it to my
nice
wife.
Yeah, and all it takes is going down one rabbit hole. Like and now it's like just because you're into it for you're looking at one specific instance or one specific thing, but you really get into it for a night because you want to learn all
Chernobyl.
about it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then like, okay, I'm done. I've watched my documentary and I've got all the information I wanted. Now I'm ready to move on.
Mhm.
Now for the next 2 months, you're getting
Something that's like, I mean, I actually did a case study about this last year
Of
as one
course
of
you
my
did.
I mean, it was for an assignment, but I was like, oh, what's an interesting social media trend and I did it on fitness, like TikTok and Reels, because I know that for me, like when I would get really into that and start looking at it, then all of a sudden like my entire page is just like dieting and eating this way and that way, and like not necessarily the most healthy thing to like go on, because you just want to wind down, and then all of a sudden everything's just like tons and tons and tons of different, some of it's accurate, some of it's not, health and wellness advice online. And, sometimes I like seeing the aesthetic workouts and all that stuff, but like at the end of the day, sometimes I really don't. And I was wondering if it's unhealthy for like correlation between increase of, eating disorders and things like that with these like curated feeds, because it's really easy to like tell a lot about a person when you go to Instagram and you look at your explore page, like just what's your explore page, because you can, I mean, for my boyfriend, it'd be all hockey stuff. For
Right. You
me
too.
at times, yeah, now it is. But sometimes it's like inspirational quotes and things like that for me, or like sometimes it's all, at one point it was all health and wellness, like fitness stuff, and that's like, ooh, I don't know if that's like the best place to be at. Or for when it's funny when boys first set up their Instagram though and they'll open it, it's all like cars and bikini models, and like that's it, like without them even doing anything. Like I've noticed, like
That's
if you
an
first
accusation.
like no, I mean from what I've seen, like if you're just starting your TikTok for the first time, like it's all, they're like, okay, you're in this demographic, this age, and they'll show you things that they think that demographic and age would be interested in.
The
It is so true. Like
yeah.
I created my first TikTok account a little over a year ago because we were going to start marketing that way. And as a 50-year-old male, every video I saw, honestly, was like young women saying they love 50-year-old males. And I was like, I was on top of the world. I was showing it to my wife, like, see, you need to shape up.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I guess they, it's that targeted, but it's Mike, you brought up a great point, and Emily, her situation explains it too. Like then you find yourself going, oh, I better not watch this video. Even if you're kind of
You
interested
don't want to be on
in
it now, yeah.
Yeah, even if you're kind of interested in it, like I better not watch this video because if I watch another one of these videos, it's never gonna go away. Like we're like counteracting the bots and like trained to like click on what we want more of. And I mean, like, it's just like, I don't know. It's a crazy path. It's just a funny path that we are heading down.
We were talking
with all
about,
of this.
your phone listening earlier and
Oh,
the
yeah.
engagement ring thing. I saw this TikTok that was like, your phone's listening to you, and it showed this girlfriend just like whispering into the phone,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
engagement ring, engagement ring, engagement ring, emerald cut diamond, like all these, specific
Yes.
like wedding
Yes.
to like you get the subconscious
Was that
marketing
on the
into
air or
her.
off the air earlier?
That was off air, and you
Off
told me
air,
to bring
yeah.
it up.
I
and
said,
I'm like,
I'm glad you
but,
did. Yeah, Mike, that is amazing. Emily was telling me about that, how people will like, if your birthday's coming up, or you want your significant other to propose, when they go to the bathroom, grab their phone and just start like talking to Google or Siri, and just like, talk about what you want for your birthday, like like over and over again.
and then they'll get ads for it.
And then they'll get ads for it.
You're right. That is diabolically.
It
genius,
is
Emily.
diabolically genius.
We'll update. No.
Yeah, no kidding. That is hilarious. All right, well, it's every week we go down our own rabbit hole with these conversations, but I mean, this is the future, and I'm so glad, Mike, that you were able to provide this insight and this information about tech and AI and all these things. And of course, we got to remind everybody about the great offer at Intervine. Remind folks about Intervine and the great offer they can take advantage of right now.
Yeah, go to intervine.com, intervine.com. Use Tony as your discount code and get 25% off anything we have. And in honor of the Vampires of Shiloh music video, that's a smash hit, we have a Monster Hunter special. Get your Sentinel flashlight, get a free Monster Hunter LED hat.
Oh, sweet. That is awesome. All the best flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps available at intervine.com. Also, batteries in all different sizes. And as Mike mentioned, use my name, Tony, as your promo code to get 25% off everything at intervine.com. Mike McClary from Intervine. Thanks as always for your time, my friend. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
See ya. All right. This is a banger for real. This has got it going on.
I think it's going to hit the charts
And the
soon.
video is impressive too. It's everything about it is impressive. All right. James Carville, the Ragin' Cajun, famous Democratic strategist, said last week that he admitted, I think is a better word for it, that he is scared to death about Election Day and Kamala Harris's ability to win. We'll fill you in on that story and more next here on Colombo Company.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Epic STL is always on the lookout for highly motivated, goal-oriented, results-driven people to add to our growing, winning team of sales and content professionals. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL is a locally owned and operated venture of Epic STL. Apply to be a part of our creative, fun, and rewarding work environment by simply going to the Connect tab on newstalkstl.com and click on Application. Epic STL and News Talk STL are equal opportunity employers.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Warning, do not take what I'm going to say seriously. Wait a minute. I want you to understand this is a serious subject, but don't start popping champagne corks shouting, it's over. Here's the deal. Democrat strategists are getting more than a little concerned about Harris winning. James Carville, who took Bill Clinton from the governor's mansion in Arkansas to the White House, says, I'm scared to death. Another Dem operative said the sugar high over Harris is gone. Others are saying in the closing 20 days of the campaign, the news cycle is focused on disasters, natural disasters, not Harris disasters. Now, Harris, who has not been involved in any way advising or helping with other disasters during her term with Joe, suddenly parachutes in, complaining Florida Governor DeSantis has made this political. He won't return my calls. You know what she did do?
She did a photo op in a nice air-conditioned room, helping fill bags with shampoo and toothpaste. Her staff put out a photo claiming, "This is an historical moment." They should have labeled, "This is an hysterical moment." Polls suggest they are so tight that even Carville says, "I'm not wondering who's going to win, but how Harris can win."
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
If you haven't been to Lit Cigar Lounge in the district at Chesterfield, you're missing a great experience. Premium cigars, drinks, spacious seating, TVs in every direction. This and more explain why Lit was voted Best Cigar Lounge 2 years in a row. Now you can be at Lit and order Napoli Brothers pizza and pasta delivered to you. In fact, Napoli's just a few doors down. A coal-fired oven giving a unique taste. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, now open in the Chesterfield district.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, Tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
3 weeks and a couple of days till the election. Who's going to win? Polls are still very, very tight. We'll have the latest.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. James Carville, the Raging Cajun. Emily, you're newer to the show. You've been here for a while, but James Carville is one of my nobody covers James Carville like I do. Let's just say that. So, you get to know James Carville a little bit.
The Raging Cajun.
Yes. Longtime Democratic strategist, specifically during the Clinton presidency. That's where he really made his mark. He admitted this past week that he is scared to death about Election Day. The Democratic strategist said that he was worried about Election Day and urged Vice President Kamala Harris to get more aggressive in the next few weeks. He said, quote, "The only thing I feel is the election is coming November 5th. I'm scared to death. I'm very, very concerned." Carville made the case that Harris really only had around 20 days to boost her messaging, as Hurricane Milton was likely to dominate coverage for the next several days. He said, quote, "They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions and start asking questions. They're doing all this and sitting down with 60 Minutes and sitting down with Colbert and sitting down no matter what. If I come on your show, you will ask me questions. If I have a press conference, I get to ask the questions." He said, "Why isn't Harris out today talking about these things?" Get off your ass. Move. So
Wonder how he feels.
one of the you say what you want about James Carville, but he knows how to win elections, and he knows how to connect with voters. At least his record would show that. And if he is saying that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and the campaign are not doing what they are supposed to be doing, and that he is, quote, scared to death about election day, I don't know, makes me feel good as somebody who doesn't want to see Kamala Harris be the next president of the United States. So hopefully she doesn't listen to the advice from James Carville and doesn't get off her ass and move. Interesting stuff there. We're used to hearing from the media and from Democrats. At least James Carville will say it like it is and talk about when he's, when things are bad or not going their way. We're used to hearing everything the opposite, that, she's the best and she's doing great. She doesn't do anything wrong and she answers all the questions right. So a little dose of reality there from James Carville. Great show today. If you missed any of it, our conversation with Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, Aaron Tarlow, our Second Amendment expert, and Mike McCleary, our tech expert. Make sure you are subscribed to our podcast. We put the show as a podcast right after we get off the air every day on basically every podcast platform. Best way to make sure you never miss anything that happens here on Colombo and Company. Just subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. And keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Emily and I back tomorrow at 2. Thank you for listening to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Well, if it's time to sell the house, why don't you go with the realty team that already has home buyers who are approved and could buy your house right now? That would be the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Two great folks, Rodney and Jen Wallner, who happen to sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. And besides the husband and wife perspective that you get, you can also do it in Missouri or Illinois. Just call 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Well, Vic, you're absolutely right, of course. I mean, here's my challenge. Just give them a call. Say, hey, Mike Ferguson was talking about you guys. Call Rodney and Jen, 314-810-SOLD, because when you are making a decision on something as crucial as your home, as crucial as real estate, you want people who know what they're doing, but you want people who are ethical, easy to work with, and focus on empowering you to make the best decision. Give them a call, 314-810-SOLD.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial